Thought I'd give a little update on the farm. It's not too cold. I'm not sure what the temperature is, but I'm in short sleeve shirts today. The wind is blowing. Hopefully it's not too windy with my audio here. And just talk about a few chores. This is our Heston 1110 mower conditioner. We still use it. It still has a place on this farm. We don't have some of the equipment you'll see today. We don't have enough shelter space, even with the new barn, to park this stuff. And you know, it's ideal, obviously, to have a barn or shelter to put all this stuff in, but whatever we do here, it has to pencil out. And so probably over the next few years, we'll erect some decent carports, and we got some dome structures over there that we've used with some success with tarps, but we might put some roofing on those, kind of make it kind of like a Quonset hut. It's just not a very structurally strong building, but again, on a small farm like we've got, you know, you need redundancy in equipment. So we still have our sickle mower conditioner, and we have just a regular sickle bar mower. And even though we've got a nice disc bind, or it's a Krone mower conditioner, disc mower conditioner, you know, I used to tarp these things. I used to put tarps on them, and invariably the tarps would sag in here, and then water would collect, and then ice would collect. And honestly, I think that had the potential to cause more damage than anything, because the weight of it and pushing against these tines and whatnot. And some people would disagree, but that's kind of the deal. This is a walnut tree here. You can see these black walnuts on the ground everywhere, and there's some apple trees out here. And I'm going to walk over here. Some of the videos I've put up, you've seen a New Holland square baler, and this is our New Holland. I'll be dragging it out. I'll be dragging this New Holland out this spring to try to get it going again. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We actually did a pretty major refurb on it a few years ago, but you know, we sell our hay to horse customers. It has to be really good quality hay, and you know, if you can't make a square bale, you got nothing. So I'll probably be bringing that thing out and try to use it some next year. The dome shelters, I'm either going to sell those. I've got two of them. I'm either going to sell them, or I'm going to put some roofing long ways where it comes over like that, and make some storage out of those things. And we got some more wagons to build. My International down there, it's not running right now. I gotta put I put the battery in backwards somehow. I managed to put the battery in backwards, and I'm not sure what I've fried. I really haven't had time to fool with it. Here's a cultipacker over here, just a small one. Some of this stuff, maybe all of it, will go down, go around to our barn, our new barn. And got a few other things. There's an old Gravely tractor that sits up there. It's in need of some repair. I'm hoping I can do something with that. I seem to have a way of accumulating junk, but when I buy it, there is a purpose, and so I walk up and look at a couple other items as well. So right in here, I've got some wagon gear. There's no post hole digger right there. It needs work. There's some down in these weeds. There's some wagon frames that I intend to make kicker wagons out at some point. One of these, this one right here. It's an Allis Chalmers. It's an Allis Chalmers branded wagon gear. I guess they made it. That's upside down, but one of the spindles, I'll fall down here, one of the spindles is broke. But I was able to contact somebody on the internet, and I got a spindle for it. I need to have somebody weld it on. This is the other part. And this wagon right here, I'll extend it and put a new bed on it. And there's a story behind this wagon, and I'll get into another video on that. This is my other dome shelter. There's a Ford 3-bottom plow over there. It needs a little bit of work. One thing we're going to do differently in 2020 is in our barn, we're not going to use pallets anymore. The pallets break apart, they leave nails behind. And we actually had pretty good luck just putting down a tarp and putting a layer of loose hay on top of it. And I was surprised how many good bales I had. I had some bottom bales that weren't very good. You saw in some of my other videos. But these pallets have to go. They just make a big mess everywhere. This dome shelter right here, the top of it blew off, and we lost that hay. That was a year or so ago. So I got to clean that out. And back over there is another wagon frame that we used with a flatbed on it, but it's kind of rotted. That'll become a kicker wagon hopefully over the winter. And if you got a keen eye, you can see way back there is an old outhouse, and it's still used from time to time. Right over here is some more pallets, and this is a screen that I used to use to screen my fertilizer to get big chunks out of it. It would clog the spreader, but with our haying, we're trying to maximize our yield, and so we're not putting down fertilizer just to make a little bit of grass so some cattle can feed on it like we used to. We want to get as much hay off this field as we can, and so because of that, the openings in our spreader to get the amount of pounds per acre are much wider, and they no longer, whatever inclusions are in the fertilizer no longer clog the fertilizer spreader. So we really don't need that anymore. This is a Massey Ferguson disc, and this is I forget the name of it, but it's a spring tooth cultivator. And what I do with some of these fields is I'll kill them with Roundup, and I'll run this thing across it with the tines, just scratching the surface a little bit. And if I need to break it up, I'll use that disc and then my culti packer down there. This is what remains of a tarp that was on that dome shelter. And this is a billboard tarp. It's a recycled billboard tarp. And you know, they work pretty good for a while. Sometimes you get them and they work great. They generally have a sleeve in them. And so what I would do is I would run the tarp over top like that, and then put a piece of pipe at the base of the shelter, and run a piece of pipe through that sleeve, and then pull it down. That's an old hay elevator over there. It probably needs to go to the scrapyard. It's in bad shape. So this is that's the tag on the spring tooth cultivator. So those are some things I want to get down to my barn and kind of get this spot right in here cleared. Probably move this dome shelter and that one too. If I plan on using them, I'll probably move them down near my barn. I have to be careful about how the barn looks, and that may sound kind of crazy, but we sell our hay to horse customers, and the horse customers that have a clue what's going on with hay, they see through everything. They know good hay and bad hay. The fact that you got a nice building means nothing. They've got their ducks in a row, and really they're the best hay customer because, you know, they challenge us and it helps us make better hay. But a lot of these customers, you know, they're driving really nice trucks and Ford 250s and big Chevy and Dodge 3/4 ton trucks, and they've got, you know, nice big horse trailers. They spend a lot of money on their horses, and they're interested in just nice, clean, green hay. They like second cutting. Sometimes that doesn't work up here with Timothy to get a second cutting, but they want clean hay, and they would like for it to be as green as possible without molding. It's just something that a lot of horse people look for in hay. And but they're, you know, when you present your hay as top quality, it's kind of handy to have a, you know, a backdrop for your hay that looks a little better than what we got here. And you know, we would tell people how great our hay was, and they'd come rolling in with their nice trucks and trailers, and then they roll up and they see all this junk. So we want to get all this cleaned up so that the visual is as good as the product. Right in here are the remnants of an old electric fence. I had a garden up here for a number of years, and we would put a fence around it, you know, as high as your shoulders to keep the deer out. All that stuff was bundled up and set here. So as you can see from this video so far, if you're putting two and two together, there's a lot of work that we're going to do over the winter to kind of clean things up and organize. We've been so busy just building our fields and collecting equipment and kind of getting ourselves spun up on making hay. And again, if you don't know the background, the farm forever had cattle, and then everybody got kind of busy, and we had people coming in making hay on some of our fields, and then people didn't want to come. So at some point, you know, I told my dad, you know, let's make hay, and instead of bush hogging these fields to make everything look nice, let's make some square bales of hay and give these kids a taste of farming. And So, you know, now we're at a point where I'm becoming a one-man army. My kids are not, you know, 12, 13 years old anymore. They're in their 20s, and or one of them's very, very close. The others are in their 20s. And so, you know, I want to get it kind of cleaned up. And of course, we were busy last year with their barn, and so 2020, we're going to get ready and try to get all this stuff in order, and then I'll make some hay on this little patch right here to keep it down. You know, you might get 10 bales, 15 bales out of here, but you know, that pays for some diesel fuel, and you know, and if you're in this field over here anyway, it doesn't take but a minute to come through and clear this. So we'll go down and look at my hay tedder next. So this is the New Holland hay tedder. It's a model 156. Again, the tag's upside down, but it's a New Holland 156. But what it really is a Kuhn tedder. And I think the Kuhn model, I can't remember exactly, is like 552. And one thing I like about New Holland, when they sell a Kuhn product and badge it New Holland and paint it, is for whatever reason, and if Kuhn is listening, New Holland has the parts lists online, so you can go on there and get all the parts for this and see what the breakdown is. And this tedder has been a good one, although I bought it used and it was a real piece of work. And I'll do a video on this tedder in and of itself, but something in the tedder, and I'm not sure where, started to bind just as I was finishing this field down here on my second cutting, and it was causing my slip clutch to catch, and these tines would turn a little bit and then they would kind of bind a little bit and then continue to rotate. So I think what I'm going to do on this tedder over the winter, if I can get to it, is I may do a complete tear down of this thing and just see what's inside and what bearings are good and what bearings are bad, and make a judgment call as to whether to keep it or buy something else. And if time doesn't permit, then I'll probably buy something else anyway and keep it here on the farm. But you know, I've read a lot about these tedders, especially some of the lower end tedders, and they're forever breaking tines. You know, knock on wood, I've never broken a tine on this tedder, and you know, we'll see what I can get into and find. But it's been a really good tedder, but there's some reasons that there's some things that we did from a repair standpoint when we got it, after we ran it a little bit, that we had to do to make it a much better hay tedder. And I'll go through all that on another video. As I mentioned in other videos, this Massey Ferguson hopefully will get an alternator in place of the generator and redo that. We got a tire that's forever going flat over here. I need to deal with that. Here's the old Gravely two-wheel tractor. It's been idle for a long time. I believe I can pull that thing out, breathe some new life into it one way or the other. If I get there, we'll talk about it. I'd like to use it on some of my new fields that I'm opening up to kind of trim the stubble down near the dirt. And you know, the blade on a Gravely is like a blade on a bush hog, and so if you run over a 1-inch stick or strike a stump or something, you're not going to necessarily damage the Gravely. But again, this thing is been parked like a lot of stuff on this farm for a long time, and really no place to put it and no idea if it ever get used again. But it's here, and I'm gonna at least take a look, see at making it go again. While I'm thinking about it, there's one other thing I'm gonna try to get to, and these old crates right here is what those dome shelters out there came in, and my intent is to saw the plywood out of the center of them and put it and fill in these openings right here on this carryall so the wood doesn't fall out. One of the things I didn't talk about is I need to do a little repair on our fertilizer spreader and our sprayer. We either need to rebuild it, replace the tank, or buy something else between now and spring, and that'll be another video. That'll be a project for another video. So hope you enjoy the videos we got. We got a number of videos that are of us haying, and we've got some older ones that we'll be putting up before we made before we had the YouTube channel, or we just elected not to put a video up for whatever reason. And so there'll be more hay videos coming. There'll be more project videos coming. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe. If you like the dialogue and the projects that we're doing here, we're a small farm, small family farm. We're not row croppers. Hit the thumbs up button to like. We don't have a timetable when we make videos and put them up. It's just when I have time to do it, I will. Anyway, that kind of concludes our what's going on the farm video for today.